What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about eye shapes. So obviously we're talking about lash extensions, we're talking about styles, curls, basically everything that you choose to put on your client is based on their eye shape. So let's get into it. Okay, so there are 5 main eye shapes that you'll definitely get throughout your lashing career, and you could get in like a week. So the 5 main eye shapes are your almond eye, your round eye, your narrow eye, hooded eye, and then your monolid. Each shape requires a different style to enhance their eye shape or correct their eye shape, or just basically give them like more of a lifted look. Okay, so when you go in and you start deciding on what style you're gonna do, you start with looking at your client's eye shape and determining where they fall in the category. So sometimes they could have like a blended situation where they may have like an almond round eye, or they could have like a hooded almond eye. Like, it just depends. So you would go towards whichever one you see like most, and then kind of work with that. Now this is obviously in the sense that where your client doesn't have a very specific look they want. This is your client coming in and asking you to do what you want, what they want, like basically just asking for lash extensions. This is what you do as a professional. Sometimes you have clients that come in that may have a very almond eye shape, and then they don't want they want like them to look round, so then you're obviously gonna do a doll eye because that's gonna correct that shape. You're definitely gonna go based on what you think and then what your client wants. So like I always say, pictures are the best way to go about that. You can kind of gauge a conversation better in that sense, and then you can get a better perspective of what your client's looking for. Let's start with almond eye. So almond eyes are like basically your ideal eye shape. They're perfectly kind of almond, really. Like, they're gonna go narrow and then nice and rounded out. This is like the ideal eye shape for eyeshadow, for eyebrows, for lashes, like anything. It's like your easiest canvas. And then, to be honest, like almond eye shapes, you can kind of do any style on almond eye shapes because they're like the versatile eye. Same thing with like eyeshadow and things like that. When you have an almond eye, you can basically do anything. There's no corrective measures you have to take unless somebody wants to change something. So almond eyes are very easy to work with and your ideal shape. With this sense, you can kind of go in any direction your client wants to, but if you want to really enhance their almond eye shape, I would really go for a natural set that follows their natural lash line, which is generally probably like shorter in the inners and then just kind of branch off to longer. Not necessarily super long, but like maybe like a nice like 4 length. So maybe like 12, 13, 14, 15. That'll really enhance their shape and give them like an open eye to basically keep those eyes as the focal point of the face. Okay, so now round eyes. So some people love their round eyes and totally embrace it, and that is amazing, and you can go straight in with a doll eye if that's their case. They love round eyes. They want that like enhanced round doll eye look, and you would definitely go in with longer in the centers and then go shorter on inner corners. That will definitely give their eyes a nice pop, make their eyes look big, and just enhance their natural shape. I have a lot of clients that actually have round eyes that don't necessarily want the round eye look. Me personally, I find my eyes are a little bit more round than almond, and I always want to go to the almond shape. So that's another thing too. Like, a lot of times the idea is to take the client's eye shape and then kind of correct it so it is an almond shape. But in the case of having round eyes, like myself, I always do something a little bit more drastic on a cat eye sense. So I would definitely do, like, right now personally I have on 8s all the way to 12s. Oh, sorry, no, 8s all the way to 13s because I wanted like more of a drastic shape. And my 13s are definitely like right on the end. My lash tech is amazing and she totally shaped them perfectly exactly how I wanted. So I feel like my eyes really do look like almond. One of the other issues I noticed for myself personally is that if you do a cat eye, let's say you do 8 to 13 as well, or even just like 8 to 12, if you put more of the length in the center or like further along the lash line, then your eye will look rounder, and that will totally take away the cat eye look, because that was happening to me. Pretty much every lash tech I was going to where I wanted a cat eye, they were putting like short, but then like most of the lash line was long, and for me to get the ideal shape I wanted, it had to be like short, and then like long just on the outers. So then these are corrective measures. Oops, dropped my phone. These are corrective measures we take just to correct the eye shape or just enhance like a cat eye. So that just depends on what your client wants. But if you're going for a corrective measure, you definitely want to go along something like that. Okay, narrow eyes. So narrow eyes would generally be someone who has very small eyes. I have lots of clients that have really, really little eyes. I personally think I have little eyes, but I have had clients that have smaller eyes than myself. And then what happens sometimes if you make them super heavy, or they're dark, or the lengths are crazy long, the eyes look smaller and like more narrow. So the best way to go about that is to definitely do maybe a shorter length and then go for more of a doll eye, because what happens is if you go for more of a cat eye, you definitely elongate the eyes, which makes them look even like smaller. So definitely the ideal goal here is to make them look bigger and more rounded out. So you would definitely do more of a doll eye shape and then go longer in the center and then shorter on the outer and inner corners. But then obviously that depends on like what your client wants too, right? I had a client the other day that has really small eyes and she wanted like super dramatic lashes. She wanted them like long and cat-eyed, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we did 12s and 11s in the inner, all the way to like 18s on the outer corner, and honestly her lashes were super healthy, they could take it. But they looked really good, they looked really nice, because then it also depends on how much space your client has between their lid and then their brow. If it's not too much space, then they're definitely going to look like overpowering. But if she has like enough of space to handle like lashes like the 18s, then yeah, you can go for it. It may make her eyes look a little bit smaller, but if that's what she wants, then by all means. Okay, so hooded eyes. Hooded eyes are definitely trickier to work with. I think I have hooded eyes like a little bit like on my corners here. I mean, you can't tell because my lashes, which is like a good thing. But hooded eyes, you definitely want to make sure you're using the right curl, so that way they're not getting lost in the lashes, I mean in the eyelids. And you definitely want to make sure you're not going too long all the way around, because if you're going too long from inners to outers, you just kind of lose that whole space here, and they just look more hooded, if that makes sense. It's like eyeshadow. When you're doing eyeshadow for hooded eyes, you definitely don't put as much dark on the hooded eyes, because then it just makes them look droopy and heavy. So you never want hooded eyes to be too heavy and too dense. You want them to be a little bit light and fluffier, so that way it doesn't make their eyes look too closed. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so tricky one, monolids. Monolids are super tricky because I mean, they're kind of like hooded eyes, but hooded eyes still have some space of the lid, and then monolids are literally like no lid space, just like the top layer is just over the lid, so you can't even see the lash line properly. Those are super tricky to work with, but they definitely can be done and they can look amazing too. The best thing for monolids is you're more focused on the curl than anything, because that curl is really going to make a difference. Because what happens is sometimes if you use too little of a curl, you don't even see the lashes. So the whole point is you want to open up the eyes. So you would definitely use more of an L or like a DD, but the L works the best because it actually gets bonded onto the natural lash properly, and you get that like extravagant curl that like really curls up, but it doesn't look like that on a monolid. It may look like how a D would look on a regular lid, or like an almond eye or anything like that. So you definitely want to make sure that when you're working with monolids, you are taking into consideration the person's eye shape, because now you have to be concerned with their eye shape and their monolid. So what I personally do with monolids is I definitely follow the natural lash line a little bit more. I don't necessarily focus on like the shape, because sometimes it could get lost with the way the monolid is. So definitely follow the natural lash line, unless the client asks for something else, obviously. But I would say the most important thing for monolids is using the right curl. Once you have the right curl, then you can kind of go in any direction. Most of the time monolids are a little bit more of like an almond eye, I find. More like an almond or a round, to be honest. You definitely want to make sure you're using the right curl. That's like my biggest thing, is use the right curl for a monolid. That's basically it for the different eye shapes that you can encounter. I didn't get into like the actual natural lashes of it, but this is more like the style you pick for each eye shape and what's ideal. Obviously, like I said, If your client asks for something else, you're definitely going to give them whatever they want. Unless the client's showing you a photo and saying, I want it to look like this, but let's say that they have a round eye and they're showing you an almond eye with like a drastic cat eye, then you're going to let them know like, okay, well, I'm going to have to adjust in a way to like make this actually look like that, and there's a chance it may not look that dramatic. Because I have a client too, actually my lash tech that does my lashes, her eyes are the perfect almond eye that no matter what I do to her, they just come out looking perfectly cat-eyed, and it's just due to her lash shape, her eye shape. Her eye shape is perfectly almond, and I don't even use drastic curls on her. I use like maybe 3 lengths. I'm sorry, not drastic curls, drastic lengths. I use like 8s, 9s, and 10s, and they just look cat-eyed every time. I even did a doll eye on her. It still looked like a doll eye, but it definitely looked like a cat doll eye because her eye shape just looks like that. So sometimes you encounter those too, but you just work with it and explain to your client what they have and what you can do. And like I said, visuals are the best way to go about it. Definitely try to refer them to a picture that kind of has a closer eye shape to theirs. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was informative. If you guys have any questions, let me know, comment down below, and yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye!